Hey everyone, what's up? It's Chelsea VanBuskirk with the Heart AF podcast. I am so happy to be back. It's been a while. I've been a little MIA, taking a break from getting some new episodes out. There's been a lot going on and it's time to break the silence. I've been going through quite a bit in my personal life, so much so that it was really hard for me to feel like I was good enough to come back on here, or feeling like I was put together enough to be able to get an episode out, just because everything was still going on. I was processing, things were still very raw, and it was very hard for me to want to show up in that space, right? I needed a lot of time to sit back and reflect and process all the things that had just happened and things that I was going through in my life. I was hit with one of these, I like the idea of relating my experience to a storm, because also recently here where I live in Colorado, we got hit with a severe thunderstorm, and our house in particular got hit with golf ball size hail. So we got quite a bit of damage with that storm. And I feel like the experience I had right at the beginning of April was similar to this severe storm. And the thing with storms like that is sometimes they feel like they can come out of nowhere. And if a foundation isn't strong, right? Or maybe, you haven't really quite taken care of your home as well as you should have, or maybe you are taking care of your home, but just wear and tear over the years, things start to break down and they're just more easily damaged by a severe storm like that. So I think that is very relatable as far as ourselves, our lives, certain relationships maybe we have, or just different facets of our lives. If we don't have a strong foundation, or if there's cracks that maybe we're not aware of, just over time, wear and tear on certain aspects in our life that maybe we're not paying close enough attention to, or that we may be neglecting things that we didn't realize we were neglecting. And then that storm comes through and it can destroy things, right? It can rip things up. It can break things down and let them be in need of replacement or repair. So I was having one of these moments where I was literally knocked down to my knees, right? I felt like the floor beneath me had just been yanked out from under me, and I just fell. I fell flat on my face. I did not see it coming. It was an earth-shattering moment for me. But the thing is, when we have these moments in our life, there's a reason for it, right? And anytime you have a situation like this where you're fully broken down on your knees, one, I feel like it opens the door for you to reestablish your faith, maybe your spirituality, and where you're leaning on a higher power. Two, it helps you see things maybe that you didn't see before. It can bring you clarity. It can give you an opportunity to then take a step back and reflect and see where maybe these cracks were that you didn't see. I mean, the biggest opportunity you're given in this situation is a chance to rebuild, right? Thinking about this storm that my home just experienced, we're filing an insurance claim, and I'm not sure exactly what all will be covered, but it might be quite a bit. Like, we're talking, we've got, broken windows, shattered screens, like our roof is obviously just demolished. I've got a ton of things in the backyard that were just demolished, patio furniture, all these things that, will likely get replaced through our insurance claim, which is kind of cool. We'll get a bunch of new stuff, newer windows that'll probably be better. So it'll help keep our house more energy efficient as far as like our cooling and heating goes. So that's a plus. We'll get a newer, better roof. That'll be a better protection for our home. So there's these things that we'll be getting that will improve our home, right? And that's kind of cool. So thinking of these experiences, whether it's in an important relationship in your life or some big aspect of your life where you're kind of taken aback or starting to realize like where maybe these cracks or the foundation wasn't strong like you thought it was, gives you this chance to take a look and see what can you do to rebuild. Is it something that you have to, scrape, move on and start again? Is it something that's fixable? Is it something that you can repair and build stronger? Either way, the reality is the same, where you have this chance to build a brand new foundation that will be stronger and better than ever. And it gives you that foundation that you can then build upon to create something even more beautiful than you had before, right? Like we're going to get new windows on this house, which will be better windows than we had before. And now there'll be better energy efficient windows. They'll be safer. There's all these different qualities and things that we'll get from these new, better improved things. So it goes the same way as far as relationships or our careers and our goals, and really figuring out like, what did we do? Not necessarily where we went wrong, but seeing where maybe we were in misalignment with what we truly wanted. And I think that's the other beautiful opportunity we're handed when we come to these moments, is we get to take a step back to really reflect on what it is we truly want. What is it that we truly desire? What is truly an alignment that brings us joy? I talk about that a lot on previous episodes about being, in this space of alignment, or being in a space where you're doing something that does elicit joy within you. And sometimes we can get so caught up in our ego space, that lower self, right? I've talked about that too. Like your ego mind is fully invested in external validations, or wanting to feel successful and wanting to achieve certain things that maybe we perceive as success. Like I feel like as a society too, like there's this pressure on us, right? Like we're told like, this is what success means. Success means you have, home ownership. Success means you make a lot of money. Success means that you have a new car. Success means that, whatever, I have designer clothes and a designer bag. Like we have these ideas of what success is based on what society is telling us. And I had a chance to go to a retreat recently, and one of the speakers there, I will link her information in the description of this podcast because she was amazing. Her company is called Career Benders, and she does focus on career coaching, that kind of thing, but she had a lot of really gold nuggets in her speech and what she had to share. And one of the things she asked is, how do you define success, right? Like we have this idea of what we think success is, or what we're told success is, but what really is success to you? Because that's really what matters, right? Who the fuck cares what everybody else thinks is success, but what's success to you? And that was something that I really had to come to terms with. And sometimes when we're hit with these big moments of heartbreak, pain, we're given this chance to see where we might have had things twisted, where we might have thought we wanted something because we wanted to feel this success, but then come to find out like really what we truly wanted was something a little bit deeper. Maybe we cherish more having meaningful relationships. Maybe we cherish more our relationships with our kids, our spouses, or finding joy within our family, and not so much the external stuff, right? Like it's one of those things where you see what truly matters. When tragedy strikes, we usually come together. We're brought to see what really matters in our lives, right? Like when we are faced with a loss, we tend to then not take for granted the things maybe we've been taking for granted. And I think it's so easy to just assume people are always going to be around, to just assume that there's always tomorrow. Like I can say the things I want to say the next day. I can say it next time we get together, but sometimes there's not a next time. And, dealing with that can be really hard. It can be really hard having those kinds of regrets. And so when we're faced with these challenges, when we're faced with these losses, these traumatic storms, right, that come through our lives and knock us down, one, it's important to get back up. I want to say that first and foremost, because I know there was a few moments when I was going through this most recent time where it was really hard for me to breathe. Like I just really felt like I was drowning. Like the waves were coming and knocking me down and down, and I was having trouble standing back up. I'm thankful that I have a support system. I'm thankful that I didn't stay there long, that I was able to get back up. And standing up when you're feeling those mass amounts of pain is very difficult. And so I just want to share that with you, because I know that there's so many people out there who go through these experiences, and a lot of times you're going through these painful moments of feeling like you can't stand up, or you're feeling like you're drowning, and you're doing it in silence, right? Because it's a very vulnerable position to actually speak up and share when you are in these depths, when you are feeling that low. It's not a good place to be, and reaching out and having a support system is awesome, but also you have to let your support system know that you're struggling and that you need help. And part of this message is I want to have that encouragement for you. If you ever feel like that, like you have to be at least somewhat proactive and ask for help and reach out and share your struggles with somebody that can support you, that can either just be somebody to listen whether it's somebody through a religious organization, it could be a counselor or a therapist, it could be your best friend, it could be your sibling, your spouse, somebody that you can confide in and share, to just listen, because sometimes that's all we need, is just somebody to listen and to just share space with us and to let us know we're not alone. And coming back with this episode, I've got a lot of things that I would like to share over the experience I've had as I've been navigating through these challenging times and trying to reprioritize and figure out my life and what is truly in alignment with what I want and what I define as success, right? So I really just wanted to share. I'm still here, I'm still around, and part of me feels guilty that I haven't gotten an episode out earlier, but I just really, really needed that time to step back. And I think that's important to do. If you find yourself in a situation, like, it's okay to take a step back. Like, we all need that sometimes, to take a pause and take those moments to really reel back and really take that time to self-reflect, to heal, to really gain clarity and figure out what it is we really want, figure out where the cracks were in whatever we were doing, and figuring out, how do I want to move forward from here? How do I want to reestablish my foundation? How do I want to rebuild, right? Because we're always giving this opportunity to rebuild, right? The sun shines every day. Like, I've talked about that before. Even when it's overcast and we can't see the sun's still there. And so that's kind of what I really like to just keep that in the back of my mind, that, the sun is still there. There is still hope. There is a chance for a new day. There is a chance to rebuild. And one of the best things about being in this position of getting leveled out, being broken completely down, is you get to build yourself stronger. You get to start new. You get to figure things out. You can decide a whole different way to live, right? Like, you can really change your life in a morning, right? Like, the next day you wake up, you can be a completely different person if you want to be, right? We get to decide every day how we want to live our lives. And it is these moments, I feel like, these storms we go through, that give us that opportunity to step back, to reflect, to make a plan, to figure out what it is we really want, that really brings us joy. What are the things that I really want to do? What are the things that I need to do that I haven't been doing that's going to get me where I want to really go, right? What are the things I've been doing that have been wasting time, or that have been putting me down the path I really don't want to go? Maybe I thought I wanted to go that direction, and now I'm seeing how much it's taking away from what I really want. And so maybe now it's time I switch gears. It is okay to close doors. It is okay to say no. It is okay to learn that maybe what you were doing maybe isn't a good fit anymore. It's okay to change your mind. You get to be the boss of you and make these choices for yourself. So if you find yourself in a situation where things are not working out the way you thought they would, you're not feeling it, things are going downhill, it is okay to take a step back and reflect and make a plan to rebuild and start something new and make a different choice, make a new choice. So I want to leave you guys with this episode to take a step back if you need to, give yourself permission to take a pause on things. Okay, I'm going to give you the two most reflective questions I was told at this retreat from this woman, Angie, that I'll link in the description here. These two questions really helped me out, and I think it helped you out too. But ask yourself, what is success to you? What is your definition of success? Not society's definition of success, not what you think success should be or what you are told, what your parents think success is. What is success to you? And really reflect and journal about that and see if what you're doing is leading you to having like this successful or fulfilling life that's bringing you joy. And then the other big question that Angie had asked us at this retreat was, what is one thing that you can stop doing that no one would notice? Like, what are the things that you're wasting time on that really don't matter, that you're putting time and effort to, that aren't getting you closer to where you want to go, that if you stop doing them, the world wouldn't end, right? Like, no one would notice. So think of those things. Like, what are ways that you can step back, or what are some of the things that maybe you've been doing that you really don't need to be doing, right? Relieve some of that from yourself. I have so much love for everyone that listens to this show, and thank you so much for being patient as I've gathered things together in my own life and taken this pause for myself to really figure out what's success to me. Another question that gets asked by every coach out there is focusing on your why, like why you do what you do. And one of the things that I keep coming back to as far as why this podcast, why I want to speak, why I want to give my message out there, why I want to write a book, and really it boils down to being able to reach, even if it's just one person, to make them feel not alone. If I give one person a shift in perspective that brings them hope, those are the things that I'm after when I get in front of this camera and speak for this podcast, when I create these videos, when I write a post. Can I touch someone? Can I make them feel something? Can I give them hope and let them know that they're not alone, that there's other people who have experienced things that they have, that might be having similar feelings or life experiences, and that they are okay, that there's nothing wrong with them, and that there is a way out, that there is a tomorrow, that the sun is still there, right? That's the biggest thing that keeps me going, or that's my why. And I think the other piece of that is just when I'm able to be vulnerable and share things with other people, not only does that help me in my own healing journey, but I hope that it sparks somebody else to give them permission to maybe be vulnerable with somebody too. It doesn't have to be on such a public platform, but hopefully that it gives them that permission to share and start their own healing journey and whatever that looks like for them. So I'm gonna end it there, but I'll see you guys soon. I've got a lot of stuff to share with you guys after these experiences I've gone through. So I'm excited to get back into it and to share with you guys how I've had this really big evolvement and transformation in my life, how I really had to step back and do this reflection just like I've talked about here. And I invite you guys, if you're in that space, or even just to reflect. I mean, it's always good to check in with yourself and reflect on your life and what you're doing and making sure, is it in alignment with you? Is it in alignment with what you think is successful, right? Like, ask yourself those questions. I'll link Angie's information just if you want to follow her, because she's got great information. She's a great coach and she's got some nuggets of gold to help you in your life or career. So I'll link her in the description of this show. I'll see you guys soon. You can find me at chelseavanbuskirk.com or on Facebook or Instagram. My handle is at chelsea.vanbuskirk. All right, I'll see you guys later. Peace.